do you reckon, Pop?
Very good tucker.
Hey legends, welcome back to Bush Fish and Cook. Thought I might do a bit of a chat at the start of this video while I get my line ready, the braid's all twisted, etc. So I'm cutting off and going to retie a lure on, fresh with new leader as well. But the reason I wanted to do a bit of a chat is simply because it's that time of the year. It's not only is it like bass season and the bass are really kind of switching on, but all the lakes around Sydney, all your little small lakes you're allowed to fish, they've all been freshly stocked. There's plenty of fish in them. I stopped by the other day at this lake in particular and there was fish on. Now the reason this can be really good is, I know a lot of people, they prefer to bait fish because I think they find it a lot easier, which when you don't know what you're doing with lures, it can definitely be easier just to cast a bait out and wait. But this is a great time of the year to get your kids and things into lure fishing, or even if you want to get into lure fishing yourself and you've only ever bait fished. When they stock these places, it gives you a bit of confidence because you can go out there and you can catch a couple of fish. I like to use something quite light when they're stocked, but at the same time, there is big fish in these lakes too, so you need to be prepared for that. So maybe an 8-pound leader and a 8-pound braid or something would be good if you're just starting out. I usually use like 6 and 6 or 4 and 6. As long as you have your drag set right, you can definitely get away with that. But yeah, you can just take out some cheap divers, things like that. Something that at least has a reasonable action. I like to just use some of the divers off AliExpress or any of those places, Wish, Temu, and I find they're really good. I'll just tie this leader real quick and I will show you some lures that might be really good for you to either get your kids involved in lure fishing, or as I said, if you haven't lure fished before and you're mainly a bait fisherman and you wanted to get into lures, great time just to sort of get your confidence up with them and see what they'll eat. If you know that they're going to eat that on a day like where it's easy to catch fish, or even when the places are freshly stocked, then you're likely to, you know, be confident in a lure and say, okay, I know a bass will eat this eventually. So you can go out on the river, you can throw the lure around on the river then, and yeah, basically put the same things into practice. And it might take a little longer out there, it might not, you never know. Anyway, I'll get this leader knot done, just about done now. I usually just tie a simple half an Alberto knot. People call it the Alberto, but I don't do the back wrap. And I find it is plenty, it holds up very well. Never had a drama. Always wet your knots down. This has always held for me, even on big fish. So I don't really go tying any extra fancy knots. Now, not to talk too much more and just get into the fishing, these are the lures I wanted to show. So these I think are about $4, maybe maximum $5 on, as I said, Temu, AliExpress, Wish.com, any of those places. This is a Kingdom brand lure. Let me see if I can get you a better look at the lure itself. Because I'm going to sit up. What about this one? There we go. So that's them, little small divers. They're about 45-50 mil, and they just got a pretty decent action when you just straight retrieve them. So you can build up a bit of confidence with these, but you don't have to fish them just with a straight retrieve. You know, if that's not working, try things like twitching the lure as you're retrieving it, giving it that little bit more action, can make all the difference. Basically, I would apply this to these cheaper lures, but not so much something, you know, the $4 ones from Kmart and stuff, they're not going to kind of cut it. Maybe on a day where they're really biting, but I would prefer something, these are sort of like a knockoff of a decent lure, which is funny to say, but they actually have a decent action. There it is, and this is just a silver looking minnow. Very simple, looks a bit like maybe a mosquito fish that's getting around out there or something. Alright, I'll tie this on and I'll show you what I mean. We'll go fish this lure now. Alright, we are all rigged up with the Kingdom diver, and just down here now at the water's edge, it's pretty clear in there, so you kind of probably want something pretty realistic, just a nice little silver diver, probably better than something with colour on it in this lake. I just find if it's clear water, you don't really want like something too fancy looking. You want something that looks quite realistic. Lure fouled up on that cast. I got something stuck to it, I think. Okay. But in these lakes, it can really get your confidence up, because just being able to cast and catch fish really can be a confidence booster. And then you can take this later on down to the river and fish the river and know maybe it's a little tougher, but you know that you'll catch a fish on it. I reckon if a lot of people get their kids out casting lures in these freshly stocked lakes right now, sort of get them keen to fish lures more than bait. Simply for the fact that when you are retrieving a lure and a fish hits that lure, it's such a, in my opinion, you know, other people maybe not as much, but it's such a better feeling than when they just pick up a bait and you see a tap and then you pick it up and the fish is on there. It's just cool getting them to eat something, even just trying to trick them into eating things. So when they're acting a little tougher and they won't just bite on a straight retrieve, because a lot of the time with these little lures, you can just straight retrieve them and they'll catch fish. But then you can do things like twitch the rod, and that gets a little more erratic. To make it even more simple, just to add some erraticness, you can simply put your finger there and let it just touch the line as you retrieve, and you'll see the rod tip is sort of now going about, and it's sort of just making the lure do really different things. But you sort of, sometimes you've got to work out what they want. Do they want slow and twitchy? Do they want just a straight retrieve? But I find with the stocked fish, you can usually just keep casting and retrieving and you will get them. Just have a couple more casts along here and then we'll start walking around the lake. Sometimes I'll let it sink down a little more in case they want it a bit lower in the water column. Really just mix it up just a touch and that'll sort of tell you what they want most of the time. So a couple little twitches, they might want that. Usually I find something just silver like this is a good lure. So we'll take it around the other side and have a crack now. And we'll just do a lap around. Okay. Now, these lakes with all that weed in it can get a bit frustrating, but I usually just finish my retrieve out there on the edge of the weed line and I sort of lift the lure out. So, it's actually a little more murky on this side. Oh God. Sometimes you've got to deal with the weed butt, you know what I mean? That's just how it goes. Oh, there we go, got one, see? And this is what I'm saying, these are like freshly stocked fish, right? This guy might be even last year's stock, depending on how big they're stocking them. But it's as simple, that was just a straight retrieve. So you know what I mean? Even though they're not the biggest bass, there is big bass in here. So don't go, oh, it's just a small bass though, because there's plenty of good ones in these Sydney lakes as well. All of them. He really nailed that. I'm gonna have to get me pliers. That there is bass number 1. See you later, mate. And like I said, that was a simple just cast and retrieve. And you pick that up just on a simple straight retrieve. And that's why this is really that time to get into lure fishing, because you don't need to know much. You just, oh, there we go, had another hit. Oh, he's after it. He missed it, but he was definitely there. And when you know, if you get into those times where you're getting a bunch like this, it can really get people into lure fishing. You have a couple of casts at each sort of spot around the lake that you can fish, and if you don't get a fish there, then oh, there we go, on, see? He's a bit bigger, not much bigger, but a little bit. Either that or we've got him hooked funny. I think he's a little bigger. But there's 40 plus fish in here. I think I've seen a 50 pulled from this one. Most of the lakes these days have been stocked for long enough to have some good fish in them. He's a bit bigger. Definitely not this year's stock, that one. Alright. Settle. Watch putting your rod down in these places, because there's a lot of people riding bikes and things around, and you don't want someone running over your I was about to say over your bike, over your fishing rod. Hey, settle. It wasn't too hard to get off with a pair of pliers anyway. Yeah, a little more decent. See, mate, he's gone. So as you see, that was 2 fish in pretty much no time. Let's see, can we get another one in the same spot before we move along? Yep, oh, missed him. That's definitely a fish. Like I said, there are some good ones in here, so if you be persistent, you can also get through all the small ones and get yourself a proper trophy bass out of one of these lakes. That was weed bed, I think, yeah. I had a lot of luck with these ones last year too. Another very cheap one, but they did very well. I might go the blue one. The blue one is what was nailing them for me last year, so I'll put that on. I was thinking about this one too. This is another one by Kingdom. Little jointed orange guy. It looks a little bit like Dr. Minnow. This little one is actually unbranded. There was no brand for this one. It was just a cheap little 40mm diver. But yeah, seemed to do very well last season on this thing. It's just got a very good action. Yep, on. Oh, dropped in. Oh, there's another one smashing it. Yep, on. See, they love this thing. This is a real cheap one. I can try and find the link for this one if you're interested and put it in the description. Yeah, they were all over this thing last year too. Little blue and silver. I don't know why, but they seem to love it in these lakes. All of the lakes around Sydney. I like to take my lures out by hand just because I feel like pliers are a lot more rough. I can see what I'm doing by hand a lot closer. If I really can't get them by hand after a few quick attempts, I will go straight to the pliers. It'll be a lot more gentle, so I usually will pin the fish down and just carefully work the lure out. I see a lot of people just rip it out, and I don't like to do that. There we go, see, just carefully out. If I can, I try and just put my hands under the little bass, because not real good to lip grip them. See ya, bro. Alright. But yeah, this little diver was also magic last year, so let's see. Will it continue the trend this year, or this season? I did just have 2 bass on in the one cast. Had one, lost one, got another one, so. It's just something about its like action. It's just so crazy. It's so wide. The way it swims. Yeah, can see fish after it. They're smashing it. Oh. Comes another one. Hold on its tail. Oh, there's an eel after the bus. No wonder they're freaking reacting the way they're reacting. Let's try some surface over here. Oh, that was a bigger fish. See the woof that thing made. It's a decent fish, I reckon. Yep. Oh, I dropped him. It's a little shady now. They'll feel safe to feed there, I reckon. Yep, on. There you go. Always fun off the top just watching that bit of commotion. Doesn't matter how big they are. They're just good fun. You're almost gonna get me with, no, he's gonna spawn me. Thanks, bro. Gave me a little spawn. That's all right. I gave you a little hook. Fair's fair. There he is. See you later, mate. So we can get another one on that surface. Yep, got him. And like, this is a really good way to get like the young kids into fishing. On some days you can just retrieve these surface lures pretty quick, and yeah, pretty much just cast out, wind them back in. Other days you do need to pause and shake them, kind of like I am now. One out, two out. And even at this size, like on light gear, kids will still have fun with it, especially watching them eat it. As I said, if you be persistent enough, you'll probably get a big fish too. So. Don't go after it, that's crazy. Just non-stop. Yep, got him. This is just a pause and shake technique. This is working very well. This guy's a bit small to put up a fight, but still, they're all good fun. They're all good fun. You do have to be careful with the spines on the bass. They do have some sharp spines on them. That mixed with a couple of hooks, probably best off if you are going to get your kids into lure fishing, that you give them a hand getting the fish off. Sort of making this video because in a little while the kids won't even be able to watch YouTube, which to me is pretty sad. Like, I always try and keep my videos family friendly, and lately it's made me sort of stop because I was like, well, there's not much point if families aren't going to be able to watch it soon. And then I thought, well, I suppose parents can still watch it on their channel and let their kids watch it, so I will keep it PG, because I hadn't for a little bit. I'd sort of added in a little bit of extra stuff than what I had been in the past. There's some really cool ways to fish these lakes, and that's what I'm going to show over the next few weeks, I think, is a bit of fishing in these lakes. And then I'm going to be trying something a little different. So get ready for that as well. There's some, I don't know how it'll go, but I'm going to go try something. Oh, look at this. These big koi. Real cool one in here with the fat one, orange, white and black on him. Nice looking fish. Sometimes you've got to be willing to cast into sketchy spots too though. Over there, good spot. Oh no. But I'll show you why, because this can be where the big fish sit in all honesty. Let's see. I've been twice in this one corner over here. I've been absolutely smoked by big fish. So hopefully it doesn't happen again, because I don't want to lose my lure, but if I can land the cast right. There we go. There's always a decent one over here. It was last year anyway. Can't say it's going to definitely happen again. Oh, yep. 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 Oh, he's not that big. Oh, did we lose him? In the weeds? No, he's still on. Come on, bud. Get out of there. He's got himself in a mess there. There we go. Yep. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's not the big fish I was after, but it's another bass. Probably the biggest one of the day. I don't think that's who was smoking me last season though. Alright, I'm going to try out one more diver for a bit, I think. Just to mix it up. Quick release on that fish. See you, mate. Now, as mentioned, I will try and link all of these lures. I get them all from AliExpress. It's rigged real funny, this one, with a single hook. Pretty decent single hook on it. Very cool little Japanese diver. I think it was Japanese, this one. It said from Japan or something on the ad. And it's been another one of my favourites for the bass. I don't know what it is, something about that little orange thing trailing behind it or something. They seem to love this lure when they're on anyway, so let's see what happens. Just keep walking and casting this and see, can we get some bass on this one? What's happened there? Oh, that was a hit. I missed him, but oh, he was alright. That was a good fish. That's actually a decent one. Oh, we're on. This is not, like I said, this is not as big as the one that I just seen chase it. But it's a fish, and these little divers, so easy. Like that, just cast it out, retrieve it. As I said, I'll try and put the links, because all of these lures can be bought for under $10. So what a way to get people into lure fishing. Just a couple of cheap lures. That's it. Easy done. Cast out, retrieve. It can be that simple, and it can change the whole way you fish. I was once a bait fisherman myself. You know, I did way more bait than, you can go back and look at the start of my channel. You know, I did way more bait than lures. Once you really get hooked into lures, I can't see you going back, to be honest. Oh, there we go. See, look at that. Oh, dropped him, but we're on again. Alright, that'll probably do. Alright, these blokes wanted to be in the video.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, that's the one. I didn't even ask them.
Like and subscribe.
Cheers, legends.
Bye.